Catch Texas in Color every Wednesday morning at 11 a.m. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel. Woo, gotta love technology when it works. But when it don't, man, let me tell you, like the internet going down, we had people going crazy. They couldn't post to their Facebook. I never seen so many kids didn't know what to do. Matter of fact, I told my kids, I said, read a book. They got time to read a book. And it paid off because now all of them got good jobs. They're out of the house. I don't take care of none of them. So it's great. So go back to old school and sit down and read a book. You might learn something. But anyway, here we are with a special edition of Texas in Color for what happened yesterday. What happened when Biden is not running anymore for office. That is the second president, if I'm right, that didn't run for a second term. I think it was LBJ was the first one. He did not run for office. And so now we got number two. But I got this young man right here on board right now. I appreciate Miss Robinson, Sabrina, for making that quick turnaround. Because I called her yesterday. She said, Ron, my phone just been ringing off, Duke. I said, I bet it had, but you have anybody I can have on the show tomorrow to explain everything to her? She said, give me 5 minutes. Well, it only took her 3 to get things going. Good morning, young man.
Good morning, Ronald. How you doing?
I'm pretty good. You like to introduce yourself to everybody?
Yeah, my name is Thierry Tchenko, former candidate for the United States Senate in Texas, former 2024 candidate, born and raised in Houston, growing up in Texas my whole life. Attended McMurray University in Abilene, Texas, went to Georgetown University in Washington, D.C. Her career has been a public servant, worked for President Biden actually in 2020 on his campaign, was an organizer here in Houston, Texas, where I currently live, worked in the White House Office of Management and Budget, and most recently, before running for the U.S. Senate, I was a nonprofit executive in Houston providing home repairs for seniors, veterans, and low-income families. So life has been a public servant and been in politics. So it's good to be on with you today to talk about all things politics and what's been going on over this past weekend.
Because I know we talked for a little bit yesterday and I had to bite my tongue and hold some of the questions until today because I was just coming out because they've been calling me and I'm figuring out, why are you calling me? Well, you know what's going on. I said, I know just as much as you do, but hold on. We'll get a hold of somebody and we'll get the information because the last thing I want is conspiracy theories going around out there. I mean, this party is a party that tells the truth, and we want to stick with telling the truth and let everybody know what the facts are. Now we know that he did drop out. The questions are coming my way is, okay, so if we get somebody else in there, I said, no, it doesn't work like that. Because if we don't have Harris in there, gonna lose all the money in that campaign. It's just like starting over again, and we can't do that. You want to explain to everybody the reason why that is?
Yeah, so in a nomination, the way that it works is when you have a president, vice president, that's a ticket. So all the money that's been donated to has been given to the Biden-Harris presidential ticket. So if Vice President Harris is able to stay on as the nominee, then she's able to keep that money because she's a part of that ticket. But the moment that there's another candidate that now is going to be the Democratic nominee for president, all of that money's gone. So you start from scratch. So there's a financial benefit in keeping Vice President Harris on the ticket and her being the nominee because that's millions of dollars that we get to keep that have been donated versus starting from scratch with a new candidate.
And Biden did endorse her yesterday.
He did.
When it first happened, the news is going crazy. Well, Biden didn't endorse her. What's going on? Give it a chance. Calm down. You know, the media, I love them so much, but they have to learn how to report the news and don't be the news.
Yeah.
I'm going to say that because I listen to some stuff and it's amazing how it goes on. But once Biden endorsed her, oh man, was the wheels turning. After that, who's going to be your VP? That's the next step. So we don't like to speculate, but there's quite a bit of good people she could pick to be your VP.
There are a lot of people that would be qualified to be her VP. There are four main names that we're hearing about a lot. Governor Shapiro out of Pennsylvania. We're hearing Senator Mark Kelly out of Arizona, Governor Andy Beshear out of Kentucky, and then the last person that we're also hearing about quite a bit is Governor Roy Cooper out of North Carolina. So those are the four names that we're hearing about a lot in terms of who could be her vice presidential pick if she ends up being the nominee.
So, what is the time limit for her to announce her VP, or does she have to wait to be nominated by in the convention?
Yeah, so she can announce it before. A lot of people are saying that by August 1st is whenever she should be picking her VP, but all of that has to take place before August 19th when the convention starts and voting starts on the ticket.
These next 2 weeks is going to be crucial to me, from what I gather, that she has to get down with the grassroots and talk to everybody and get support from enough people. So 2 weeks. How do you think this 2 weeks will go?
It's going to be a fast 2 weeks. And one thing that I want to say is it's not a guarantee that she will be the nominee. And that's something that's extremely important. I think over the last 3 weeks, we've seen how fast things can change. You can think one thing a certain day, and then the next week or even the next day, something can just flip. And so I think it's important for her to continue on building momentum and continue on proving to the Democratic Party that she's worthy of being a presidential nominee, which, I think that she will be. But like I said, if we've been following politics the way that we have been over these last 3 weeks, I'm not sure that people would have expected that we would have been here. So, for her, I think it's going full blast, full bore, trying to make sure that she's getting as much support as she can, connecting with all different types of communities and coalitions all across the country.
Yeah, I was just watching her. She was congratulating all the college athletes and stuff. She mentioned Biden and how he was and everything, which was good because nobody talks about all the things that's been accomplished.
That's right.
They speculate on what's going to happen next. You worry about now. We already know what's going to happen next. It's just give it time to go in. But so many people will throw things out there trying to see. They throw it against the wall, find out what's going to stick, whether it's true or not. And what I'd like to see more in the campaign for them to talk about more of his achievements, more that he done for the country. Because all we hear is the negative stuff about he's old. Okay, we got that. Now you're talking about he's old. Now he's dropping out. You mad because he dropped out. The other party is mad. And they want to take it to court. And I figure out, do they got a leg to stand on taking this to the court?
I don't believe so. I don't think there's much legal merit there. I'm not a lawyer, but based off of what my research has been and just talking to other lawyers and other folks in the space, I don't think that there's much legal merit there. But to your first point, I think that it's extremely important that the campaign talks about the accomplishments, what they've been able to do over these last 3.5 years. It's something that I think they could have been doing a better job of. I think that the American people need to hear, well, this is what Biden's done well. This is what Biden's passed. This is how it's going to benefit you. Are we where we need to be? The answer is no. Even just as a candidate in this 2024 primary, I traveled all across the state and I saw how people were suffering. A lot of people are going, it's hard right now, but we are making progress. And if you get a Donald Trump, we're going to be going backwards instead of forwards. And so that's the message that needs to be transmitted on the ground all over the country.
So with that being said, the Get Out and Vote campaign, I was honored that Tammy Lambert invited me to get out and vote and go out Luke County here. And I went out there, and that kind of so reminded me of how it was back in the day. It's grassroots, getting out, meeting new people. I met people I never met before. And the common goal is get out and vote. I was told, I don't care what party you vote for, get out and vote. Well, I care. I want you to vote for one party, but to get out and vote, that's going to be the crucial part about this, because so many people are laid back right now. Because I talked to 10 or 12 people, and they both say, well, my vote won't count. Mainly the black men. They're saying, well, my vote don't count. I said, when's the last time you voted? Oh, when Obama ran for office. I said, so what's wrong now? There's no good candidate. Okay, so you're not going to vote because there's no good candidate. You need to vote. Then I asked a couple of them this key question. I said, are you married? Yeah. Did your wife go out and vote? Yeah. And you still in that house? Because I told
Yeah,
him, I said,
yeah.
it doesn't work like that. So what can we do to encourage people to get them to get out and vote and get on board?
Yeah, I think it's why talking about the difference between what a Vice President Harris will do and what Donald Trump has done. That's the thing with Donald Trump. It shouldn't be hearsay. It's not, well, we think that Donald Trump is going to do this. We have proof over the last 4 years, from 2016 to 2020, what Donald Trump did, and he was not working for us. Whenever he had his time to now decide what he wanted to pass, he passed a tax cut for the wealthy, for billionaires like him, right? Not for everyday folks like us. So being able to talk about those things in a very real way. But I also think, to your point about black men, you know, I spend a lot of time in my barbershop. I spend a lot of time even with my friends, black men, and there's a frustration with the system that a lot of folks have. And I think that we have to speak to that. I don't want us to speak over that or dismiss that concern or that frustration with the system. Naturally, whenever you're operating in politics or anything, we're imperfect. No party is perfect. So I think having to communicate that and say, look, if you're expecting perfection out of a Democratic Party or a Republican Party, you're not going to get that. But it's about what is the best party for your interest? Who is going to make life better for you? And being able to drill that down. But having those real conversations, because I get it. I understand why someone may feel like, and my vote doesn't matter. I'm not seeing these real differences. And it takes people like us, that's why I appreciate what you're doing, is having these type of conversations, making it clear so that people can understand and say, you know what, maybe I never thought about it that way before, but I appreciate Ron saying it that way. You know what, I'll go out and vote.
Yeah, and that's I challenge people. I found myself saying something I need to stop doing. Because if somebody come up and tell me, well, I don't like what's going on, I said, did you vote? They said no, and I turn around and walk away.
Yeah,
I have to stop that. I have to turn right back around and
that's
get
right.
their reason to me on why they didn't vote and
That's
how
right.
I can educate them on the reason why you should vote. That's one reason why I became election judge in Bexar County, because I
Mm,
wanted to see how the system worked. Because people's talking about ballot stuffing and all that stuff. We don't use paper ballots anymore. So,
yeah,
I want to see exactly what was going on how it was done. And it opened up my eyes to a lot that there's no way they can manipulate this. But the other side is putting out there, this is what they're doing, and it's so far from the truth. So we have to organize a little more, a little harder, and push and educate the voters on the reason why. Because I always told, if you didn't know the reason why, you weren't going to do anything.
that's right. That's right. That why is extremely important. And saying it again, it's why you have to tell people what has happened. What has President Biden done? What has Vice President Harris done? So that people, I'm someone that, words are important. The Bible says that life and death is in the power of the tongue. So I value words, but actions speak louder than words. You got to show me. And so we have that. We have a president that's been able to pass key legislation. So that has to be talked about whenever we're talking to people about why they should go out and vote for the Democratic ticket.
Yeah. One thing I'm gonna ask you about is I get it, but I don't get it. Why are we so fixated on lies? We will sit down there and talk about lies and almost make them the truth. And I
Yeah,
can't figure that out. So when the truth come out, it's almost like it's buried. Like front page is all the big lies. The truth is in section E, last page.
yeah,
Um, the media is part of the problem. I'm gonna say that because they are. So, but we are too because we're not speaking that truth loud enough and long enough and enough times to let everybody know this is what the truth is.
yeah.
So
I think,
I'm trying to figure it out.
yeah, and I think the way I look at it is we live in a very, very partisan time. And so a lot of it is if I hear an opinion that doesn't fit with the narrative that I want, then I'm going to dismiss it. And I don't think that's helpful. I think that we always should be seeking truth. We always should be figuring out, okay, what is actually going on? Not a conspiracy theory that has no merit, but what's actually going on. And there are going to be times where the Democrat looks good with that truth. There are going to be times where the Democrat may not look good with that truth. And I'm saying that as a lifelong Democrat. but we should be seeking the truth. And that's something that's right now, a lot of folks, like I said, we live in this polarized environment where, we run to our sides and we don't want to give an inch. And that's not helpful whenever you're trying to fight against lies and get to what's actually going on, what's actually truthful in our society.
And see, and the Republicans always talk about we need to have dialogue, we need to talk, we need to do this. But you can't talk when you come out with talking points and you don't deviate from the talking points. No matter what, you can ask them a question: is the sun yellow? Well, actually, they'll say something else bizarre. Talking points. To me, you're not talking to nobody. You got this point. That's what you're gonna talk about, and you leave it at that.
Yeah. And something that I tried to do on my campaign was actually going and sitting down. I was running in a Democratic primary, but I took time to go and sit with Republicans and have these type of conversations. And I lived 4 years in rural Texas, so I have a real appreciation for rural Texas. I spent time in parts of the state that nobody else would go to, parts of the state that even Democrats would say, "Thierry, you don't need to go over there." But to me, it's important that if I wanted to represent the state of Texas, then that means representing all of the state of Texas, not just Harris County, not just Bexar County. And in having those conversations with Republicans that maybe didn't see eye to eye with me, they appreciated it. And there are some people that it doesn't matter what I say, right? They're going to have their perspective. But for a lot of other people, when I sat down, we talked about issues. We talked about school vouchers. When we talked about healthcare in our state. At the end of the conversation, they would say, "Thierry, you know what? I really appreciate you coming here and having this conversation. You changed my mind a little bit on what I previously thought." And so that's something that we just have to continue on pushing and continue on working and not get discouraged because there are a group of people that, aren't listening to the truth or aren't open to it. Because there are some people that are going to be willing to have those conversations. I'm proof of that.
Yeah, you sound like you almost be from the same playbook because who was it? M. Green Scott was telling me the same thing. She went to places they told her don't go, and she said actually people listen to her.
That's right.
So I think part of the problem, we go by name recognition and vote, but we don't see what they done for us.
That's right.
And when you get out and talk to the people, and they see how this works, a lot of people already know how things worked with the government, especially for the city council. What do they do? Nobody knew. Oh, we just elect city council and that's it. But when you get out there and tell them what they do, oh, they control that. I didn't know they do that. Well, that's what they do because they don't know. So now that's where the whys come in. This is why we need to do this. This is why this need to be done. All right, we can't tackle this problem right now, but we'll get money in the budget for next time to do that. And the other thing I found out, people are scared to ask the candidate what they need in their community. And as soon as something happens, they don't have it. Well, the candidate don't know because you didn't tell them what you needed over here.
But it's also the candidate's job to be asking those questions and to be providing an environment to where people feel like they can be open and they can express themselves. Something that was important to me. We did meet and greets where, at the beginning of the conversation, I would share my story. But for the rest of the hour and a half, I would allow people to ask questions. I would allow people to make comments. To me, that's what a true public servant is. It's listening to what people are saying, listening to the perspective, and then forming your policy and crafting your policy off of what you're hearing. And so that's what we need more in our politics, because I think sometimes, candidates and elected officials are talking at people instead of talking with people. And I'm someone that wants to talk with people. I'm someone that wants to understand where people are coming from. And of course, I have my principles and what I believe, but those two things should go together. What I'm hearing and then what my principles are to make good policy that's going to benefit people.
I was always told in order to be a great communicator, you have to be a great listener.
That's right.
That's what I was told. And that was something else. Getting back to should things go forward with the candidates here already, despite that Biden dropped out of the race? Should it be full steam ahead, and should they rim it up a little bit? You know what I mean?
Is you saying with the down ballot candidates?
Yes.
Who are you speaking of?
Yes.
I think it should be full steam ahead. You should be running your race. You have your voters that you have to turn out. You have your voters that you have to persuade. So in some ways, I wouldn't be even worried about what's going on at the top of the ticket because you have your race that you have to run. So it should be full steam ahead.
I agree with you on that one because um, somebody yesterday talked to me about coattails, and they said if Biden won't be in there, how long this coattail going to be? I said,
Mm,
really, it doesn't matter who's going to be in there. You got to be on board
that's right.
110% and
That's
support
right.
who's ever there.
That's right. That's
So
right.
we know the coattails go a long ways, and they're saying that may affect some of the local races. It's only going to affect the local races if you let it. That's just
Yeah.
my opinion.
Yeah. No, you have to continue on campaigning. You can't, you have to run your race. That's something that's extremely important. I think sometimes candidates get worried about other races, but they're not focused on what they have to do to get 51% to win a seat. So, yeah, I would say full steam ahead. Continue. And you're going to have to answer some of those questions from people that are going to want to talk about the top of the ticket. But really, the focus should be what are we doing to make sure that we get the job done in November in our race?
So with Biden not running again, you can't use the word lame duck. Um, should he continue with his policies that he's going to do and just go forward? Don't show, just don't sit back and relax. You know, he needs to come out with his agenda and still stay on top of his agenda. So that's what I'm saying that needs to be done. That'll put a lot more um, people realize, okay, he's not running, but he's still doing his job.
Absolutely, absolutely. I think that he should be operating as president no different than he was last month. He should be putting forward policy. He should still be advocating for the people of the United States, trying to make sure that he's doing everything he can to improve the lives of folks. So I'm 100% in agreement with you.
Okay.
100%.
I got something that came my way today. A matter of fact, it's not funny. It was funny the way they put it. They said, if that's going to be the ticket, Harris against Trump, don't Trump know that Harris used to be a prosecutor and he's a felon? How's that going to work? You
It'll be
know?
very interesting. Yeah, I think a debate. Hopefully, he's not scared to debate her. If she's a nominee. So that's going to be a sight to see. It's going to be a sight to see because I think that she can make some very, very good critiques and arguments against Donald Trump. I think the foundation is there of a campaign that could beat Donald Trump. So it's just about her doing the things that she needs to do. But yes, for sure, it'll be really interesting to see how her prosecutor mind will go up against Donald Trump.
Yeah. And they agreed for two debates, Biden and Trump. So is the second one not is voided out? They just can't pick up and have Harris take that spot?
Yeah, it's going to be, that's something that we'll see. I'm not sure on that. I believe that they may have to re-agree on that
Okay.
and get to a new point because Vice President Harris would be the nominee. So yeah, I think that's something that is still to be decided.
Man, oh, that you're right. That's going to be a a tough debate right there.
Yeah,
It's going to be very interesting if he
yeah,
does. So, with Harris in the picture now, and we got what 28 days before the convention, and I'm saying 2 weeks is crucial right here. And so, with everybody around, I'm gonna talk about Texas now.
yeah,
Texas can go blue
yeah,
in the right way because it's been too long. I think people have seen a lot of stupid stuff going on. I hate using the word stupid, but I'm calling it as it is.
yeah.
Stuff going on, and the counties or the districts that they redistrict to make sure they win. That's done every 2 years. Am I right? They can do it every
That
10 years.
that's every 10 years.
Yeah, every 10 years. So our next one is coming up. Oh, we still got a while for that one.
Yeah,
So what I'm getting at, if we turn things blue and we take over the state, with voting, I mean, if we get it all together. Now, it's two obstacles in our way right now that I see. One is Abbott, the other one is Cruz.
yeah,
The reason why I say Abbott, he was over in Asia when that hurricane came through here. It didn't budge to come back.
that's
Then,
right.
then when he comes back, he's mad because why is the power out over here still?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, that's what you get from the Republican Party. Though. You had Greg Abbott, who was in Asia, during Hurricane Beryl. You have Ted Cruz that left, during Hurricane. So that's what the Republican Party is in the state of Texas. So it shouldn't be surprising. When you're voting for the Republican Party, over the last 30 years, there hasn't been one statewide Democrat that's won in Texas. And so the state of Texas right now, everything that you're seeing is because of Republicans. And so if we want something new, then we have to get Democrats to win statewide. And so that starts, in this election, making sure that Colin Allred beats Ted Cruz, making sure that Catherine Colbert is able to get the job done as railroad commissioner. Those are big, big races that we can get done in November.
With the passing of Miss Jackson, who will appoint the remainder seat?
Yeah.
Who will do that? Is it the governor?
So there are a couple of different options that may take place. The county executive committee is able to now put up a candidate and select a candidate that would be in that seat. There's also another option. The governor has an option of being able to put up a special election for that seat as well, for a new nominee. So it depends. We're going to be able to get some more clarity on exactly what will happen over the next month. But the Harris County Executive Committee is able to put up a candidate, select a nominee for the seat.
Okay. And when is their seat up? Is there seat up?
That'll be in November.
November? Okay.
Yeah, so the election would be in November.
Oh, wow. So that's what, 5 months to get somebody in there? Man. Woo, we got a lot. We have a lot going on. We need to take care of real quick. So, wow. I'm just sitting here with awe on everything that's going on in such a short period of time. This is what this one word I'm going to put out and what blacks are good at. It's called resilience.
Yeah.
And this is the time we need to be resilient and go out and start looking for candidates and have them on board. I mean, I'm willing to travel. If somebody have a meeting somewhere, I'll travel to Dallas and Harris County. I just want to be there to see what's going on. Yeah. I'm willing to travel and support. And that's another thing we need to do. I looked at some of the district races and stuff, and some of the Republicans got over $450,000 in their war chest. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And some of us barely have 50,000 in there. Yeah. But who was that told me, I forget which one, I know it was Miss Washington or Miss Green, told me, if you give me $1, I can stretch $1.
Yep. That's what a lot of our candidates are having to do, but we have to do a better job of supporting our candidates. That's financially, but that's also on the ground with resources. We have to make sure to back our candidates because in many of these races, we're at a disadvantage financially. And so, but money doesn't win elections. Votes do people. The people go out and vote. Right. And so at the end of the day, we have to make sure that we're mobilizing people to get out and vote.
So mobilize people, get out and vote is what we need to do. Is everybody on board, mobilizing, getting things together? Do we have everybody on the same page of what we need to do?
I think so. I mean, that's something that's going to be very important getting out, of the summer, making sure that we're all on the same page. I know I'm playing my part in trying to help out different candidates. Talked about Christian Washington in East Texas, a great candidate that we got to make sure that she gets the job done in November. And so we have to be supporting our candidates. Absolutely.
Yeah, definitely. All right.
I wanted to ask you. Tell me what you're feeling in Bexar County, the second largest county, if I'm not mistaken, in Texas. How are you feeling about everything? What are you hearing on the ground in Bexar County?
I'm hearing that it's time for a change. They said we got the same old people in there, and they looking for youth, something different coming in. It's the same old people making the same old every year. It's not changing. And what I'm hearing mostly in Bexar County, we need to elect some officials with youth, that with brand new ideas and don't go with the old one, because it may have worked for 50 years, but they're saying it's time for a change. Yeah. That's what I'm hearing here in this county, because they are looking forward to it. Now we got a new mayor coming to town because the old one, Ron Nuremberg, his term is up. So we got people fighting over that. You know, the thing I see about Bexar County is the voter turnout. When you have a district here that a candidate's running for city council and they win with 1,000 votes, there was no voter turnout. So we got to turn around and get the voters out there. You know, that's what I'm seeing here is low voter turnout, and that needs to change.
Yeah. We have to get more people out to vote. We have to give people more hope of why voting is important and the difference that it can make in their lives. That's something that I've seen all across the state as well, that voter turnout is low. A lot of people feel like, as you mentioned earlier on in the conversation, that people feel like their vote doesn't matter. And so we have to drill down that message of why their vote matters and have those conversations. Because I think sometimes we dismiss people instead of engaging with them and walking them through why their vote matters. What is the difference between voting for one candidate over the other?
Yeah. And I found out here with them voting it's the education part of it. And why I said before, it's the whys. Well, why should I vote for them? I'm not telling you to vote for. I named off the candidates. And the other thing is when the primary came around, it was like 4 pages going up there to vote. 4 pages. And I'm telling everybody, you need to vote early. Early voting, get in there. Go to bearcounty.org. Look up the sample ballot. Start studying your candidates. I get people that come up there and want to vote. They don't know. All they know is the president, and that's it. Yeah. Then I explain to everybody, you know, the school board has a lot of power. You need to start voting on the local level. Or like we have the off-brand elections, not the major ones. That's where our lowest turnout is at. And that's school board, mayor, and people don't care. We got to start having caring for things like that because it starts locally. I tell everybody that. It starts local.
It starts local. It starts local. Those local elections are extremely important. I worked in local government whenever I lived in D.C. for the mayor in D.C. Those local government elections are very, very important because they're closest to home. Yeah. They're closest to home. So that's your trash being picked up. Those are your roads and potholes being fixed. I mean, so you got to make sure you vote in those local elections.
Amen. Well, sir, I appreciate you taking the time out coming on. I mean, it was last minute.
No problem.
And then we have you coming back on the 31st.
Yeah, 31st.
Hopefully on 31st, we have some, well, exact how everything is going. The process is going. We should know by then, by the 31st, of what's going on. And so that's a few weeks, well, less than a few weeks away. So I'm looking forward again, but we appreciate you stopping by today.
No, appreciate it. Thank you. Anytime you want me. I appreciate you having me on.
All right. You take care.
Thank you, too.
Okay. Bye-bye. Thank you for watching Texas in Color. Please tune in every Wednesday at 11 a.m. And please don't forget to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification button so you'll be notified each and every time we go on live.